Brain-Based Teaching and Learning by Shanna Ayer. One thing that has always fascinated me is how the brain works, and since my district is big in the brain-based teaching and learning principles, I decided to look at how teachers need to incorporate different principles into their classroom to encourage students to learn, but also to help their brains function in a way that they're retaining the information that is being presented. Eric Jensen has done a lot of brain research, and through reading two of his books and looking at some other websites, I decided to create a Prezi that explains brain-based teaching and learning. Brain-based research. Teachers need to be trained in brain-based teaching and learning so that they know the strategies and information surrounding the research. This will allow teachers to implement brain-based teaching and learning in their classrooms. Brain-based principles and strategies lend themselves to all areas and concentrations of learning. These principles and strategies can be used for all learning styles and intelligences. Students. Students are all unique. Brain-based research shows us that all of our students can learn and retain the information we present in class. How then do we as teachers teach our students to help them learn? Let's look at the research conducted on the brain and the best principles for teaching and for learning and teaching with the brain in mind. Are group jobs important? Yes. According to brain-based research, students who are given a responsibility may continue to stay engaged. Teachers need to understand the types of jobs that can be given to students to help them stay responsible and engaged in the learning process. Group jobs can include AM stretch, get your group up and moving. Coach, encourage the group to be a team. Leader, make sure everyone participates. Logistics, keeps everyone focused on the task. Summarizer, takes notes and summarizes information. PM, joke of the day, gives a clean joke to the group. PM Energizer, re-energize the group by getting them up and moving. These are some of the group jobs that Eric Jensen encourages teachers to use in their classrooms if they're using groups as cooperative learning tasks to keep everyone motivated and everyone having a responsibility. What does research show? Research shows that our levels of dopamine and norepinephrine increase with physical activity, so we need to get our students up and moving. Research also shows that the brain works evenly on both sides. This means that people are not left and right-brained as once previously thought. We use all of our brain. According to Hook and Farah, 2012, educators use neuroscience to maintain patience, optimism, and professionalism with their students, to increase their credibility with colleagues and parents, and to reinforce their sense of education as a profession concerned with shaping students' brain development. The Teaching Model by Eric Jensen. According to Eric Jensen's model for teaching, teachers should spend 10% of the time spent in the classroom to assemble all students together so that they are ready to learn. This will also promote a positive classroom environment that is ready for the learning process to begin. 80% of the lesson needs to be spent on engagement of the learners, making real-world connections so that the information is relevant, and extend the learning process so students retain information. The final 10% of time should be spent reviewing information and independent practice. "14 principles every teacher should know and use." Uniqueness, labels and properties, emotions, attentional and input limitations, adaptive and flexible, rough drafts, prediction, environments matter, body-mind integration, malleable memories, perception not reality, social connections, developmental stages, meaning making. These 14 principles are also from Eric Jensen. Conclusion. Each student is different. Teachers who focus on using the brain-based research to help them in the classroom will find that students learn in a variety of ways and that engagement will be increased when students are up and moving. Teachers need to focus on a variety of instructional strategies so that students are using all of their senses. Teachers can also allow students to choose the activities and give them the opportunity to be more responsible in their academics. Students have unique brains because of experiences they go through in life. Brains automatically want to sort, group, classify, labels, and understand relevant properties. Most of the time, our students only do what they want to do. Cognition and emotions have 70% overlap. Do not present too much information too fast because students' brains will begin to shut down due to information overload. Chunk the information being presented so that a student's input limitation is not overloaded. Teachers need to stimulate an emotional response from students so that the students lock in the information. Teachers need to build positive relationships with students. Keep students engaged and interacting with their learning, and they will strengthen their attention spans and working memory. Incorporate brain breaks into the lessons. Slow down instruction. According to the article, The Brain in the Bible, 2007, ultimately, emotions stem from the very nature of God Himself in the Bible as having emotions. His creation reflects these same characteristics, and human emotions must mirror God's emotions. Teachers need to also understand that students' brains are changing every day. Keep instruction varied and interesting. Brains create rough drafts, and as information is presented in various ways, the brain refines the information. Activities that teachers create and use that allow for immediate feedback will also strengthen students' learning capabilities. According to Eric Jensen, the brain is highly malleable and a hybrid of both genes and experiences. He also states that the ability of the brain to rewire and remap itself via neuroplasticity is profound. Include students in the creation of class rules and expectations. Students who can use predictions of what will happen in class during an assignment or working with a group can increase their curiosity and help them stay engaged. Allow students to interact with their peers, assignments, and environment to keep their brains learning at a higher potential. Environments play a huge role in the learning capabilities of the students. Students need a safe, happy, encouraging environment that allows them to feel as though they are in control of what and how they learn. Our brains and our body work together. They are connected and influence each other. Students need peer interaction as well as movement in the classroom. The chemicals released in our brain during physical activity help us focus, and in turn we retain more information. Memories can be forgotten, and this can help us work on building our working memory. Relevant and real-world examples, as well as accessing prior knowledge, can help students relate to the information and understand its importance. Stay positive. When teachers need to give a negative response, such as discipline, correction of a mistake, etc., give at least 3 positives, such as a smile, positive feedback, or a high five. Teachers want and need to build their students up, so allowing yourself to give them 3 positives after a negative will help the student know that you still care and are not upset with them. Boost learning through peer interaction. Teachers need to know the different developmental stages of their students to understand how the brain is changing and growing. Invest time in your students, understand where they are in development, and help them throughout the changes taking place. Teachers need to help their students create meaning to every lesson. Allow them to process their own insights into the lessons and be a part of the lesson. Teachers are socially responsible for their students. Teach from the heart and keep integrity in all that you do. Be creative and exhibit Christ. Be professional. Monitor and adjust lessons as necessary. Eric Jensen, 2009, wrote in his book, Teaching with Poverty in Mind, teachers should teach with share factors. The share factors are standards-based curriculum and instruction, hope building, arts, athletics, and advanced placement, retooling of the operating system, engaging instruction. I hope this gives a little bit of insight into brain-based teaching and learning and how teachers can use this to impact their work in the classroom. Thank you.